Let me start out by saying it's not my fault. That's the first thing I want to say. The second thing is I'm by myself today. Cat, Potato, Allie, Nimbus, Zap, and Dion are all not here. Why? Because I'm lazy, and that's just life. So what I'm gonna do is I have to recap session 37, Dancing Flames. Why? Because I spent so long trying to upload videos, and for what? To not post them and lose the VOD that was in Twitch because I had waited too long, just a week too long, and there's nothing I can do to recover that. So I owe explanation of what has happened between session 36 and session 38, which is Dancing Flames. So without further ado, let me begin to narrate and do everything for everybody in the premise of session 37. And put some music on, actually. This might be fun. Oh yeah, that's loud. Turn it down a little bit. Okay. So let me go ahead and start this up. So here's what happened. Basically the entirety of session 37. Carnelian and Idris had woken up tied to chairs. So the two of them tied to chairs. The two of them kind of wake up in a daze, not really sure what's going on. Carnelian, a bag over his head, Idris, a bag over their head. A bag rips off of Idris's head, and revealed is Raija and a couple of mages underneath the temple of not the temple of Nambai, but really a sultan's palace of some sorts. The magic items and all of the items from Idris and Carnelian have been stolen away. In a humble regard, Idris and Raija revealed to the party the Sultan of Nambai speak. It is moments while Carnelian still has the bag over his head and he can't see, has no means of escape, and Idris tries to convince of their otherwise not suspicious endeavors. The fight that once happened at the tavern is revealed to be just the two of them with no knowledge of anybody else being a part of their crew. Their items to be sent off, and for them to be sent off in a moment's notice as they reveal underneath the room a teleportation circle where their chairs sit, and mages in the room incanting the spell to teleport them away. A 10-minute ritual. Within the temple, right now, invisibly, are Father Cruz and Ymir, who have successfully made a way of getting into the area without being seen. Father Cruz on the lower floor and Ymir on the upper floor. Man, this music's crazy right now. Holy. So, Father Cruz and Ymir on the hunt to search for Idris and Carnelian in the place, stay invisible and lurk amongst the place. Father Cruz looking everywhere on the upper floor. Sorry, Father Cruz looking everywhere on the upper floor, and Ymir looking for all the places on the lower floor, and kind of switch vice versa, not knowing where each other is invisibly. Father Cruz eventually ends up on the bottom floor and hears about Carnelian and Idris' location. Ymir, on the other hand, within the stairwell, finds a place to be within and also sees that the doors are closed and sanctioned off. They cannot hear their friends just yet, but as a door opens, it reveals them both inside the room. In order to make a nimble escape, Ymir and Father Cruz need the help of Mimosa and Velu to get things back together. With themselves remaining basically invisible the entirety of the time, Mimosa and Velu must make a decision. And what they do is they decide to make a distraction of some kind outside with Father Cruz's elk, sending the elk in a direction to cause some traction of people to follow and chase. Velu, staying on the upstairs floor with Mimosa, they purge, move through the room, and it's a pretty a daunting case of them wanting to break some doors down. So now everybody is in the area, including Mimosa and Velu. Velu currently in their Layla still. Mimosa and Velu take the opportunity to go and search through the things of Raija by breaking open the main door. Mimosa pushes through, opening the door barbarically, but in doing so breaks the lock and holds the door in place, holding it there while Velu inspects a journal among the table, reading through Raija's recent note entries. The note entries of Raija start to list very important details about her father's legacy and the children and the genasi of this area. It starts to become apparent that Raija is a big factor of whatever this earlier learned ability is from the Arcanium and what has happened in Arlusha. A supplier in the chance to this new energy and the children being sent off to somewhere in the Fiasco League. Velu reads these notes amicably, but in the return of Raija from downstairs to upstairs, there's a panic ensues, as Mimosa and Velu must make a choice of how to break through this area. Velu takes the journal, looking out the outside window of Raija's place, a small square window, and Misty steps down to the courtyard. Meanwhile, there's an opportunity for Mimosa to try to sneak around and get out as well. So instead of taking the stealthy approach, they instead use brute force to break through the main door, and they rush through the area, running past Raija and everything, revealing themselves. It's pretty noted that they are not apparently around, as things kind of move closer and closer together. The downstairs, as the portal is being slowly, I guess the word would be generated in the room with Carnelian and Idris. They basically count their prayers, as nothing can occur to save them in this moment. That is until the arrival of Ymir and Father Cruz to their aid downstairs, bursting open the door, stopping the teleportation circle in its tracks, and revealing Idris and Carnelian out of their blinds and the chairs and binds that hold them. The guards, who have all kind of rushed in to try to assist and stop them from what they're doing, start to make their endeavors to stop the party from releasing the two culprits and revealing themselves. As they start to fight one another, Mimosa makes their way down the stairs, with Raija making a saunter walk and pace, very eerily creeping down the stairs in a slow rate. The fight begins, and the party remains hopeful. As people realize that Raija starts going down the stairs, she lets out a magical burst of arcane force that drops Father Cruz in a moment, dropping Mimosa in a lot of hits. Everybody starts to get very hurt very fast, and with Carnelian and Idris already down in their hit points, and Ymir and Velu nowhere to be seen in the moment, Ymir reveals themselves magically, casting a spell, revealing their medallion, and Velu, in the outskirts of the courtyard, tries to make their way in with their amulet to hope to teleport out. The battle becomes critical as Raija starts firing off blasts to indeterminately stop the crew of people. It doesn't take long before all the party starts to move themselves away from rushing out the back entrance towards the courtyard where Velu remains. As Velu sits in his position, everybody who approaches him joins their hands to cast the planar shift spell with his amulet. A counterspell sent from Raija stops it, as Ymir both counterspells and Velu counterspells at the same time to stop the attempt. In this reaction of double counterspelling Raija, it does successfully move through. However, the amulet, the planes, warps and shifts as something goes wrong in the teleportation. And where once the destination was trying to be and a safe space maybe in Caldora, Halavar, or anywhere, instead shifts the plane around them into something unknown and unaware. They shift into multiple directions and trying to find a location where it is most safe. But inevitably, they all warp out of their destination and become stuck in a new realm. And that is where the session ended. Now, as far as the information revealed by Raja's journal, we're going to go ahead and reveal some of these main things. The main information of the journal read out for the party, specifically in the lore of Raja's journal. A message. My father died C-363 as a leader of Nimbai. I have since taken over to continue his dreams. He had envisioned a Genasi society that would unite together and create the kingdom separate from the seven majors of the time. The Makoti Desert was slated to be a Genasi hub of the world. But Ignamud, the father, a memoir, written in this same journal, Nimbai was leading the initiative and driving a new rise to power, but it was put to a halt. The Sandman had existed, and he granted a cosmic power of jinns. The Sandman, who was a free spirit, saw that the separation of elements was necessary to control the elemental chaos and protect the future beyond humanity. He was aligned to the balance of the elements, yet drove separation of them. We are not just chemical compounds to be kept apart. We are humans. We did not choose who we are, nor do we be dictated by the powers of another universe, Raja writes in their journal, lamenting. Another memoir sits for the same father. Nimbai still tried their effort to unite the cities of Makoti, but in the dreams of the Sandman that rode louder than her father's, drowning the dreams out of the question, it led to his inevitable meeting with the Sandman, Old Lokoi. Ignamud made a deal with the Sandman after his passing that they would protect the artifacts of the Jinn by building the temples dedicated to their power and keeping them separated as he desired. For when he was gone, he would be able to control the balance. The Fire Genasi would then own all of the temples of the Jinn in worship to the Sandman. The Sandman agreed, and once Raja's father became older and she was being born, he witnessed the Nova Night and the wish that he granted. This was written as a cruel trick of the Sandman to move his Jinn powers into the children of those Knights of Arcanine. He never trusted the Genasi of the Nimbai tribe to protect the artifacts, so the power was removed from their choices. The father saw this as a threat, yet the artifacts found their place into their respective temples after his expiration. Another entry into the journal. Nimbai first saw the chaos of these children releasing their elemental power across the world. My father continued to accomplish this vision and build within the center of the desert. He now possessed a new drive for these children that existed even in me. Ignamud became obsessed with the idea that these children were the key to his new society, that the Sandman made a wish to prevent him from reaching his goal. With Nimbai forces being the lead guards of temples in each city, we protected the artifacts from everyone, but no one ever knew that the power was even within the artifacts. He believed the power was within the children. When I was 4, I remember him giving the order to find all those who were marked by the Nova Night. It didn't take long for the resistance to be built around this obsession. Even I was a part of it all, but he used me as the control of his groups. I would be there every time a child was brought forward and compared with me. So many faces I had seen, so many scared, innocent faces. I resented my father for this. Calling us batteries was just a way for him to dissociate our human nature. He saw each gifted child as a ticking clock. Another entry. Many resistances formed during this time. The leaders of Zephyra attempted to eradicate Nimbai, believing we were taking their bloodline in vain. However, the control we had already had over each region due to our temples led to them losing. None of the other Genasi stood chance against us for this, but the Air Genasi continuously and broadly disrespected us, pinning every Fire Genasi as an evil omen to the other cities. After a while, we were numb to the opinions of the cities, and simply became the ones they manifested. My father's dream was being torn apart in front of him, everything becoming more divided. None of this would have happened if we were already unified under a society of all genasi, where all the children were already part of a combined nation, a picture painted of dictation and invasion, the fire genasi of the West. However, I grew up. I realized his design. When I was 20, he passed. He instilled me these tasks: to find a society where the genasi could be together in the Makoti, to protect the artifacts of the Jinn, and to seek the purpose of the arcane batteries. The last entry in the Journal of Raija. Well, second last entry. My first cycle when I was 20, a group had raided the Numbai Temple and stolen the medallion of the Elder Sons. Starting my legacy as leader of Numbai as a failure, I found that these members contained genasi, fire, water, air. The punishment was simple in my mind. Due to their actions, all the magical items would be confiscated from the people until the artifact was returned. For 6 years, we drained the nations of their magical items to maintain dominance of the Makoti. The Delician province had offered to take our relinquished items in exchange for more forces and alliance against Halavar and Oracle, if they deemed our practices unethical. Many genasi left Arlusha, Halavar, the province, or Oracle. Only some families with roots tied here remained. Now my father's dream is attainable, with so little resistance. Using the resources of the Delician province, we started our build within the drained lands of the New Kingdom to be arisen at the nearest cycle, to be called Genova. The Arcanium beacon was raised in Arlusha to demonstrate the alliance of Genova and the Delician province. When we are done with building our city, admonishing Arcanium tech from our land. As for the arcane batteries, we found that their power directly tethered from the elemental planes, and we could be transferred to material. There was an older genasi tribe in the Fiasco League that knew the ways of transference, so the genasi children all sent there to have their essence drained, and the materials sent to Arlusha, where the Arcanium beacon store the energy. The Corona keep the children as part of the trade to do as they please. The last entry in Raija's journal. King Jelician has offered his daughter to me to unveil our marriage, to unite our nations of Genova, and to fulfill my father's dream. I cannot unveil this to the world, yet they would try to take another princess. They would try to find another to take Princess Glacier's hand, a far more powerful suitor. I never cared for the politics of my position, but I wouldn't mind marrying if it meant to fulfill my father's wish. I met a strange Leonin today, and offered to see a performance. I honestly haven't smiled like this for a while, nor have been invited to an event exclusively, ever. Most were just afraid of my position, and my handle on things in Mumbai. I suppose one night away from the temple wouldn't hurt, and a night back in the temple with a new face, a rather stunning one at that, I wouldn't mind sharing more than a drink back in my chamber either. Those southern kobold tribes always have something, since no one dares to keep any magical items in the city. It's been hard for me to trade more resources to the province. I've made some deals with the local tribes that if they brought me any items, I would trade them jewels and other things. A simple trade, but not risking the necks of my mages and guards. And this is the last entry of Raija's journal. After everything had spun in their own controls, the party teleporting out of place, and everything basically setting itself up, everything went hushed, quiet. The party was able to acquire their items as well. As moving through each of the individual rooms, they found there were 4 rooms, each with their own teleportation circles. They were able to basically scratch off a few of them to kind of disrupting the type of teleportation things for a minute, but realistically it's only for a temporary time, as mages would just reignite the portal once again, once they're complete. But a 10-minute ritual is enough for somebody to make some damage. Everybody gains their items back, and they're able to equip what they need. But in an effort of escaping and teleporting out of Mumbai, something feels missing from some of our party members, to be realized in the upcoming sessions. And that is where our session ended. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jacob, you're an idiot. Why didn't you just upload the VOD whenever it was done? The answer to that, my friends, is simple. I'm lazy. And realistically, if I really wanted to be a more efficient DM, I probably would have had these VODs uploaded, or maybe had someone else do it for me. But at the end of the day, I'm a simple human who makes mistakes. And I think this will suffice. because if I missed anything, or if anything's, you know, really, 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 really important, my players will tell me about it. And that's the kind of respect I expect from all my players in my game. And to be honest with you, they're some of the best people I'll come to know. And I can't be mad about that. Good luck, have fun, and more importantly, is it Thursday yet?